You on the differences between good and evil. If I was thinking about an example of someone who I didn't like, if you knew there was a person that you didn't like, but that person was a good person, and you'd had a clash with that person, but that person was doing a lot of good in the world, helping a lot of people, doing wonderful things, and yet you still wanted to destroy that person and hurt that person's life, then you would be partaking in evil. There are many times I've been very, very angry with God. Now, if I had the power to fly up to heaven and take God on because I was furious, a good person would go up there and argue with God, or would get on their knees and pray and argue with God. Right, you're allowed to argue with God. You're allowed to get angry with God. You're allowed to have a fit at God. And the reason is because you and God have a relationship. If you're constantly on your knees and you're only pious to God and you never get angry with God, you don't have a relationship. You're just totally a servant. But then most people are like that who think their servants aren't servants. They pick and choose what they want to do. And then they pretend they're pious and holier than thou, etc., etc. So if I could go up there and I was angry at God over something, I'd go up there and I'd argue with God. I wouldn't punch God and I wouldn't try to destroy God because to destroy God would be to destroy the work of God. Means all the good that God's doing on the earth, I would be destroying God. So God, and then the result of my personal selfish anger towards God would destroy all the good work God's doing, thus making me responsible for evil, because all that will be left will be evil. If you do the same thing with someone that you dislike, and instead of just going up and arguing with that person or having a face to face argument, you start like a character assassination and you do all you can to destroy that person's life, you are not only responsible for destroying every bit of good that person was trying to do and was doing, but you're responsible for destroying all that person's good for the future. That means all the people that person could have helped in the future, they can't help anymore. That person can't help anymore because everyone is now suspicious. And there is a dark thought towards this good person that all created by you to hurt this person. So therefore this person can't do good. And so I was saying that the difference is like God is slow to anger. It takes God a long time to get angry. And the reason behind that, I think, mostly is to give the other person a lot of chance. You're furious they did something, but you sit back and you let them leave them. And then I think the whole time you always trying to hope that the person you don't like is going to see the light. And they're going to click that what they're doing is wrong and they need to change their ways. But a lot of people don't want to do that. Or the clicking's not happening. They're not getting it. And they just keep doing bad or keep trying to hurt you in particular. So you're slow to anger, which means you're slow to respond. And you pull back your natural reaction and say, no, don't do anything yet. Just wait. It's the people that dive straight in and attack that cause anger, that cause issues and problems. And it's the ones that know that if they destroy the person's life, at least for now, if not for the whole of the future, and they know that in doing that, or destroying the person's public character, they are destroying all the good that person can do, then that has to be considered an act of evil. In other words, if God says, I want you to be good to this person, even though this person has hurt you, you are helping that person still continue doing God, even though you're angry at that person or disappointed in that person. If you stop that person from doing good, and all their so they hold a ministry on the internet, say they used to go around the streets and they had a high position in the church, and all that's destroyed because of your constant character assassinating that person, then eventually you've taken the side of Satan and you've deliberately created darkness where there could have been light. Like Jesus says, don't hide your light under the bushels, come out in the open. This person tries to come out in the open, and then someone else comes along and pushes them back and puts darkness over them, kills their light, kills their hope, kills their worth, kills their way of helping others. Therefore, it is clearly an act of evil. So it's an act of evil to be selfish, to hurt other people for your own selfishness, your own desires, your own gain, your own personal gain. So hurting someone for your own personal gain, that person could have done a lot of good for other people or was doing a lot of good for other people, but now isn't because of the effort you put in to destroy their life, then you clearly have killed all the good and changed the light to darkness. And I think that's what you would call evil. The simple act of changing light into darkness and then leaving a whole lot of people unprotected and uninformed and not healed and suffering simply because a person went to the effort to destroy that other person's life.